Okay, we are recording. Greetings, dear Libra, that's you over here. This is your love and relationship report for what we call July 2018, and it's from Lumination, your reader. Okay. Remember, these are for lots of people, so it's kind of generic. If it doesn't make much sense, please watch for your sun, moon, and rising, especially if they're all different. You know the drill. You've probably seen these channels many times before. Also for singles, please help yourself if you wish. This is primarily for people who are in chosen relationships where there's yourself and a significant other and a third entity called the relationship itself. Okay, you'll see later on once we get into the spread. I use a Lumination crucible spread. Before we get into it, the reason I'm asking singles to consider this is because when you take into account the laws of attraction and you're always radiating energy anyway, then you can allow for what is it that is reflected back to you from over here, from perhaps a significant other. Think of this as what if, who, what, when, why, where, how. Okay, that kind of energy. Before I get into it, July is kind of a crazy month, and August too, but we're going to focus more on July. It's because of all the eclipses happening. So mark your calendars. We're already coming out of June 27th with the Capricorn Cancer full moon, taking us into July 12th, okay? The eclipse here, the Cancer new moon eclipse. This is a precursor to everything that's going to be happening in 2019, okay? It's full of eclipses, Capricorn Cancer eclipses, okay? And those will be in squares to you, Libra, okay? Challenging perhaps in some ways. Later in the month, July 27th, the Leo Aquarius eclipses, perhaps quite compatible for you. Sun in Leo, Moon in Aquarius, and extending way over into August here, August 11th, the Leo new moon eclipse. So we're going to focus on the middle here. Let me get to this with you. Just briefly, I kind of, hold on. I like to do this now because it seems to help people with the reports, throwing a little bit of spice in there. These are my personal notes, but I'm sharing them with you. So if you think of this as a clock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, going in reverse like this, okay? So we're going to start off the month from over here at the end of June, the Capricorn Cancer full moon, okay, in your 4th and 10th houses, home and career, home and mission, purpose in this world. Tick tock, 2 weeks later, here we go, we're in July 12th. This is the Cancer new moon eclipse, okay? It's up there in your 10th house of career, your place, your mission in this world. What are you bringing to this world? What is your place, your purpose here? All that kind of stuff. And of course, it's going to become starkly reflected and opposed by what's happening in your home life, okay? Home and career, career and home. So be on the alert for that. Then ticking along through the month, we go over here, 2 weeks later, tick tock. Aquarius full moon eclipse, okay? The moon is in Aquarius, the sun is in Leo over here, okay? So it's a full moon eclipse. Again, you're going to feel that reflected back to you in relationships. And so the other thing is that because this eclipse is happening in your 5th house here of true love, romance, fun, relationship and stuff, there might be some radical upheavals that are happening in your love life, Libra, whether you know it or not. You know how people can be caught off guard radically, like spontaneous earthquakes and revolutions and upheavals. And again, with the eclipses, it's very hard to predict, especially when we're dealing with the Aquarian energy here. And so I'm just kind of giving you a heads up, like just be aware, like towards the end of the month, radical shifts and understandings in your love life, okay? Eclipses. Things will be eclipsed out, new things eclipsed in, and so be it. There's no going back with eclipses, okay? So we're not doing an astrology reading here. I just wanted to give you these calendar moments, okay? June 27th, July 12th, July 27th, August 11th, okay? So there you go. We may refer back to this in a little bit, but anyway, here we go. Cards were well shuffled in advance, but I'm going to the last second so that you guys are a witness. Also, you can cross-watch too, for your significant others if that helps you. Sometimes it really helps to get a perspective on our loved ones. so we can moderate and understand our own situation even better, okay? Just give me a couple seconds more. I need to feel completely comfortable here. Also, bring in your team. Bring in your own spirit guides, okay? Because that's what we do here at Terra Lumination, and it becomes a group effort. You know, it's like a shared event. You don't have to be here on your own. This is for you, Libra. It's not a couple's reading, okay? Let's get into it, all right? I'm going to do a kind of a strange cut here. And excuse the shifting backgrounds here. It's just, I like this thing that we're working on. Okay, here we go. So this would be your energy, Libra. What are you radiating right now? Think of yourself as a cell phone, a transmitter, a transceiver. You're always receiving and transmitting energy. A lot of it is invisible, and it's just like radio waves, okay? So you transmit that, including the energy of love and relationship, okay? Whether there's any there or not, okay? Now, over here, the energy of the significant other, okay? Energy over here, deep inside of you, deep inside the other, and at the core, the relationship itself. There's you, there's the other, there's the third party entity, the relationship itself. So here you can see the crucible. The crucible is the structure that allows a healthy, loving couple to intimate and separate in a place of safety and security in which they have invested. In other words, they conduct themselves through the relationship as opposed to face on. Okay, not a lot of people do that, from what I've discovered, but it really helps if you conduct oneself through a relationship where it's like, what can I bring to the relationship? Okay, well, I was going to ask, what can I bring to the relationship? So you invest in the relationship like it's owning real estate together, okay? And then you have a joint responsibility. It's not all about what can you extract from them and what are they trying to extract from you. Let's have a look here. This is momentum, prospects. Over here, circumstantial energy, the weather, whatever that might be. Let's think of that like environmental things that are around you, which can impact your life and your world, even though it's not necessarily you. It can still feel like it's a reflection of you. Let's have a look here. The Fool. Okay, so my feeling is like it's kind of a wild card with the eclipses. I think this is relating very, very strongly to the eclipses, especially here with the Aquarius full moon eclipse, July 27th, way towards the end of the month. This is going to be a really stark wake-up call. The eclipsing, understand the word eclipse specifically. Things are eclipsed out. An eclipse stops things and blocks things and opens doors to new things. You come in one way and you leave another way. You can't go back that way. You can only go forward this way. Sometimes it can be quite shocking and catch you unawares. So that would put you in a place of like, holy bleep, what am I supposed to do now? Or else it could be, oh wow, this is so cool. What am I going to do now? Do you see where we're going here? It's wild. It's totally up to you what you do with this and how you deal with it. But it's very, very it's very wide open. Let's have a look. What are you radiating? Okay, well, this is encouraging. With Ace of Pentacles here, it might be that you see this and feel this already as a new chance, a new opportunity for like making things much more substantial and real in your life in like a three-dimensional way when it comes to love and relationship, like a very, very serious reality check, like very stark, blinding awareness of what's actually happening right now. In which case, what are you going to do with that? The Ace of Pentacles wouldn't be here unless you had earned it. So no matter whether this eclipse energy is harmonious or catastrophic or disturbing or beautiful, whatever it is, it looks like your deep self here. No, it's more like your conscious waking self is fully aware of it. Maybe you can smell it all around you. Like, you know how in the old days, very, very old days, they didn't have weather stations or anything. The only thing you had was your limbic system. And you could sense, you know, heavy storms and shifting weather from days away, sometimes weeks away. And people would sense that. And those would be genuine feelings. So my feeling here with you, Libra, is that you are fully, fully consciously aware that there are new beginnings for you. So this is very much to do with the eclipses. So let's highlight this again. I didn't really expect it. We're going to have to do it. New moon eclipse over here, July 12th, perhaps in your career setting. and how that might affect you in your love life, okay? And then stretching all the way over to August 11th, okay? With the eclipses here, the new moon eclipses here, again, exciting new beginnings here, but that's way off outside of this reading. So back into the month itself, July 12th, July 27th. These two eclipses, I believe, will be kind of radical shifting and blow the doors open to brand new opportunities for you that, to me, it feels like you've been wanting this anyway. And now it is your time, and you see it as your golden opportunity, okay, to make things real. How that works out is a whole other story. You see, the thing is, the opportunity's there. The question is, I don't think it's a question of whether you see it or sense it or whether you're going to grab it. I think you're already there. So the question is, what are you going to do with all of that? A huge question. Huge, huge question. What am I going to do now? And I forget the positive tone or the negative tone. Literally, what am I going to do now? Okay, let's have a look at the other. Okay, with the Six of Cups here with a significant other, to me it feels like it's very much to do with, you're relating with someone who deeply loves you and you deeply love them. And remember, this is not a couple's reading. Okay, this is just all about you, but we're including their energy because it's about the relationship, okay? So you may, Libra, be relating with like perhaps a renewal of love in a new, radically new way that you've never seen or noticed before, maybe taking things to a new level, okay, where you're seeing each other more as a soulmate to each other. In other words, they are operating at the soulmate level. You might be operating on a different, tier, so to speak, perhaps in the three-dimensional plane, and they're operating much more like on a spiritual, emotional plane. And it's still very deeply loving, but from a very different perspective. And so that could be reflected back to you, maybe where you're seeing yourself in this relationship from much more of the deep soulmate connection type of thing, as reflected back to you by your significant other. Okay, Libra, I hope that makes sense. In other words, new awakenings, new levels of awareness about what is it that constitutes home and family. It's going to be reflected back to you from a significant other, in that they would be perhaps in some ways the embodiment of home and family and love in a very, very old-fashioned way, like the things that really, really count. But how is that going to translate for you? Okay? It looks to me like there's a deep soul love here. And that's just simply what you, Libra, are enjoying. And that's what they're expressing and radiating to you. So to me, this is really encouraging. Let's have a look deep down inside of you, what's going on. Okay, more work. So I'm not trying to put a negative spin or a positive spin on any of this. To me, this looks very much like pure love without any conditions, okay, from a significant other. And the question is, what are you going to do with this? Because it looks like there's radical shifts, radical changes, radical new horizons opening up for you, Libra. So where does that leave you? So deep down, it feels to me, with the Seven of Pentacles, that it leaves you wondering, about my own failings. Like if we put the shadow spin on this, like what's going wrong, how is it going wrong, why is it going wrong, and when is it going wrong, where is it going wrong, and how do we get into this mess, and how on earth are we going to fix this stuff? Because we definitely have value here. We have values, we have shared resources here. You've put in a lot of work, Libra, but it just seems that a lot of stuff has been neglected over perhaps a very, very long period of time. Maybe now this is a time of golden awakenings for you to see much more clearly, as reflected back to you from like a deeply loving soul person, where things might be out of alignment, seriously out of alignment, where it can happen in relationships where the weeds grow, where things are unattended. Things get corroded, rusted, covered up in psychic lint, mud, dirt, and just assumptions where we basically take everything for granted, and then all of a sudden you realize it comes to kind of a grinding halt where everything's root bound, everything's weed bound. And then you're left with this big issue like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do now? How am I going to clean this up? How can I liberate myself? Go with what really, really works here. Keep the love, obviously, keep the value and the values of who you are and what you have in this loving relationship. And it's just a question of, uh, first of all, having to identify what the problems are, and then figuring out what are you going to do once you've identified the problems. And that could be the workload coming up for you. That could be the golden opportunity to realize how valuable this relationship is for you, but it might be up for some radical changes and radical new horizons in ways that might be very hard to predict, because in the middle of these eclipses, there's going to be so much shaking and rattling around that we might not know the outcome till later in the year. Okay, when things start to settle again. The eclipses are kind of like what's happening across the globe, the planet right now, with all these massive weather events, the floodings, the volcanoes, the fires, the lava, the fires, all of that stuff. It's happening right now, but eventually there will be kind of an aftermath, like a hangover effect, a hangover period. Well, when things settle and like we can figure out what are we going to do now. So over here, let's have a look deep inside of them. Okay, well, my feeling is that there's a lot of love here, Libra, in this significant other, and they don't want any kind of war or conflict in any way, shape, or form. They have only the best of intentions for you. They only have the best of intentions for the relationship and for themselves. They are very, very concerned and determined to be the most loving person that they can be for themselves primarily, and removing themselves, detaching themselves from anything and everything that does not work for them, treating themselves, loving themselves as a soulmate. And so, as beautiful as the imagery might appear here, it can also indicate that whatever has been neglected or is not working or has failed deep down in yourself or in the context of a loving relationship is in some ways not their business. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. All it means is that they are no longer willing to get sucked into the weeds and the rust and the like the psychic lint, emotional lint, and all the residue of neglected, unattended matters of the heart when it comes to love is as love does. In other words, it looks to me like huge amounts of your love life have been on autopilot or taken for granted in some ways, Libra. All the good stuff of it, all the bad stuff of it, and it all gets to this point of like getting blown open, wide awake. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. What does this actually mean now? You're living through the eclipses at this moment here, and through August too, okay? But in September, things will calm down, and maybe what's happening here in July will start to make sense, okay? But right now, you're actually living through it. So my feeling is that no harm is intended by the deeply loving loved one here. The only thing they have is love. That's all they are. That's who they are. That's what they are. And their goal is to bring love and more love to the situation. But they are not going to allow themselves to be stuck in the mud or in the weeds or entangled with whatever's going on inside of you that is impeding the flow of love here. In other words, the love moves on anyway. It's just a question of how do you define love for you, Libra, moving forward here towards the end of the month and into September, August and September, because there's going to be radical shifts and upheavals and changes. Let's have a look. Okay, well, there's no way out of it. You're kind of on a magic carpet ride here, Libra. So, in other words, look at it this way. This is a really, really super positive reading for having everything blown up around you and brought into stark awareness about what's not working. And that's really, really good news, because that now gives you the chance to figure out, what do I do now? Like I said earlier, what are we going to do now? What do we do now going forward? And the thing is, you don't really know. And it's impossible to know at this time, in this calendar moment, what we call July 2018. So the point is, it's better just to sit with this, accept it and love it, understand that you, Libra, are deeply loved by what amounts to a soulmate. But this soulmate has no intention of going to war to try and fix anything and everything that is essentially corrupted or derelict or whatever is not working in the love and relationship department romantically over here, that's going to get kind of blown up and exposed and eclipsed anyway. So things are going, whatever's wrong, it's going to come to the surface. And then you figure out what to do next. It's just that you're in the process, in the vortex, the time vortex over the next couple of months of the discovery, the process of discovery. You know, like when they go through legal things, Libra, you are the law sign. So in some ways, the process of discovery, sometimes it takes a long time to get to the truth of the matter, get to the realities, okay? So with the Wheel of Fortune here, my feeling is that it's like you don't have a choice. The only choice you have is to go with the flow, take full advantage of the circumstantial energy around you, allow yourself to just free fall through the whole thing, knowing that you've got a lot of stuff to take care of. There's a lot of repair and maintenance that needs to be addressed, that needs to be admitted, and it can't go on. Things can't go on the way they are without dealing with the repairs and the maintenance. So the question is, what is it that needs repairs and maintenance? What's going wrong? How, why, when, where, who, and all of that. And then treat that as basically a fated event. It's basically, this is meant to happen. It's supposed to happen. All the elements are lining up for you, for the best and the worst. All the worst things that are being exposed here need to be exposed. You've got to reveal it to heal it. And all the good things, all this delicious, wonderful love over here needs to be fully exposed, so you are fully aware of how incredibly fortunate you are, dear Libra, to have this person in your life. However that looks, whatever that looks like going forward in a few months from now. Because we can't put any definition on that from here, except maybe a hint. Let's have a look at this one. Okay? Success. Okay? Winning. Being appreciated. Being understood. Being celebrated. Almost like being a hero. So it's almost like the story of a hero in some ways, where there's this beautiful love energy over here for you, Libra. There's this great new opening opportunity over here for you, Libra. Sorry, that's the other person. Excuse me. I think I got my words tied up there. So it looks, from my perspective here, it looks like once, I'm not going to predict your future because I don't know the depth of what's going on here, about what's going wrong. In terms of what's needed in terms of repairs and maintenance. Pretend you've just realized you've inherited something really beautiful, more beautiful than you could have imagined. It's absolutely gorgeous, like you inherited an old mansion or something. And it's all yours, but it's completely run down and dilapidated. And it's up to you to figure out, well, what do I do? There's a lot of cleanup, repairs, and maintenance, refurbishment, and remodeling to do. And that could put you in a whole new place that we can't predict right now because of the eclipses, where you do end up basically a winner, or the relationship itself ends up as a successful relationship. Now, I'm not defining the success. Sometimes a successful relationship means turning into some kind of soulmate thing here. Maybe it is a renewal of some kind of romance. Maybe it is a radical shift where the romance turns an old, beautiful soulmate love relationship turns much more into a beautiful platonic loving relationship, okay? With the 11th house energy over here, around August 11th, it's much more about the friendly aspect as opposed to the romance. So that might be kind of where you're heading. My feeling here is where there's so much love here between you and a significant other. However, there's so much radical shift happening here. We can't predict it all in any way. The only way to do this is free fall, live through this, treat it as an amazing adventure, and you come out the other side the winner. But what is it that defines winner going forward? There's in other words, like some couples end up no longer being couples in the traditional way, but they end up being more loving than ever before because they discovered something that you could call true love and friendship that kind of supersedes, like, a sex life and romance and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I'm sensing here. I'm sensing a whole upgrade for you, Libra, and I think it's really gorgeous in some way, where the love goes on, the love continues. It is what it is, but the definitions are radically different. The definitions are, completely blown up and started, like, reformatted again. I think it's very much to do with this energy here, and owning that for you, Libra, deep inside. What am I going to do now? What am I supposed to do now? How am I going to deal with this? This is so, beautiful in its own way, but it's shifting and it's changing. There's no way out of it. You can't stop the journey. You can't stop the evolution. The eclipses will not allow that. It's like one of those non-return valves in a hose, or like in your bloodstream, in your blood vessels. I don't know if you're aware of that, but in our blood vessels, we have little valves that stop the blood from going back to where it came from. Like in the arteries, it's supposed to flow to, and in the veins, it flows away from. And there's little valves that stop the blood from, it always has to move forward and it can't go back. So that's what I'm sensing here. It's moving forward, succeeding and winning. It's just redefining what the love relationship means for you. It's a wonderful new opportunity. And it looks like coming to a maturity as well here, a growing maturity of what love really is, and growing up into that new level, next level, loving kind of relationship, which I'm indicating here. It might be much more on a platonic level, less about the lovey-dovey romance stuff. Still very loving, okay? It doesn't change the actual core love energy, but we're taking it to a new level, that's all. All right, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings there, Libra. I hope I didn't scare you or leave you wanting, like, well, what am I supposed to do now? But that is one of the core themes of this reading. What am I supposed to do now? It's all up to you. All I'm suggesting is here, take full advantage of the situation. No judging. Don't allow yourself to, impose your issues, your problems on the other one. This is your stuff. This is your baggage. This is stuff that you have to sort out. Only you can sort out. They're not going to stop you. They're not going to get in your way, but they are no longer going to allow themselves to be living at the mercy of this. Okay? Okay? And that's their form of liberation. Okay? Thank you very much, Libra. I hope you get something out of this. Take care. Have a super month. Okay? Bye-bye.